Welcome to the fascinating world of cognitive psychology. In this video, we'll explore the essential concepts and terminology that form the foundation of this field. Cognitive psychology is the scientific study of mental processes such as perception, memory, reasoning, and problem solving. It helps us understand how people acquire, process, and store information. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid grasp of the key terms and ideas that drive research and theory in cognitive psychology. Let's begin our journey by looking at what makes cognitive psychology unique and why it's so important in understanding human behavior. Cognition refers to the mental processes involved in gaining knowledge and understanding. These processes include thinking, knowing, remembering, judging, and problem solving. Cognition is central to everything we do, from making decisions to interpreting the world around us. In cognitive psychology, researchers study how these processes work, how they can be improved, and what happens when they break down. Understanding cognition is key to unlocking the mysteries of the human mind. Perception is the process by which we interpret and organize sensory information from our environment. It allows us to recognize objects, understand language, and navigate our surroundings. Perception is not just about what we see or hear, it's about how our brain makes sense of these inputs. Cognitive psychologists study perception to understand how we construct our reality and why people sometimes perceive things differently. Attention is the cognitive process that allows us to focus on specific information while ignoring other stimuli. It's what helps us concentrate on a conversation in a noisy room or spot a friend in a crowd. Attention is limited, and cognitive psychologists are interested in how we allocate this resource, what distracts us, and how attention can be improved. Understanding attention is crucial for learning, productivity, and safety. Memory is the process of encoding, storing, and retrieving information. It allows us to recall past experiences, learn new skills, and make decisions based on previous knowledge. Cognitive psychologists study different types of memory, such as short-term, long-term, and working memory, to understand how information is retained and why we sometimes forget. Memory is a cornerstone of cognitive psychology, influencing nearly every aspect of our lives. Learning is the process by which we acquire new knowledge or skills through experience, study, or teaching. Cognitive psychology examines how learning occurs, what strategies are most effective, and how learning can be enhanced. From classical conditioning to observational learning, understanding these mechanisms helps educators and psychologists design better teaching methods and interventions. Language is a complex cognitive function that enables us to communicate, express ideas, and understand others. Cognitive psychologists study how language is acquired, processed, and used in everyday life. They explore topics like grammar, vocabulary, and language disorders. Understanding language helps us appreciate the connection between thought and communication, and how language shapes our perception of the world. Thinking involves manipulating information to form concepts, solve problems, make decisions, and reflect. Cognitive psychologists are interested in how we approach problems, the strategies we use, and the errors we make. By studying thinking, researchers can develop techniques to improve reasoning and decision-making skills, which are vital in everyday life. Schemas are mental structures that help us organize and interpret information. They allow us to quickly make sense of new experiences by relating them to what we already know. However, schemas can also lead to biases and errors in thinking. Cognitive psychologists study schemas to understand how they influence perception, memory, and behavior. Heuristics are simple, efficient rules or mental shortcuts that people use to make decisions and solve problems quickly. While heuristics can be helpful, they can also lead to errors and biases. Cognitive psychologists study different types of heuristics, such as the availability and representativeness heuristics, to understand how we make judgments under uncertainty. Biases are systematic errors in thinking that affect the decisions and judgments we make. Cognitive psychologists have identified many types of biases, such as confirmation bias and anchoring bias. Understanding these biases helps us recognize our own limitations and make better choices. Biases are a key area of study in cognitive psychology because they reveal how our minds can be both powerful and fallible. Information processing model compares the mind to a computer, describing how information is input, processed, stored, and retrieved. This model breaks down cognitive processes into stages such as encoding, storage, and retrieval. It provides a useful framework for understanding how we handle information and why we sometimes make mistakes. Sensory memory is the brief storage of sensory information such as sights and sounds before it is processed further. It acts as a buffer for stimuli received through the senses, allowing us to focus on relevant information. Sensory memory is fleeting, lasting only a fraction of a second, but it plays a crucial role in perception and attention. Short-term memory, also known as working memory, is the system that temporarily holds and manipulates information we are currently using. It has a limited capacity, typically holding about 7 items at once. Short-term memory is essential for tasks like mental arithmetic, following directions, and holding conversations. Long-term memory is the system responsible for storing information over extended periods. It has a vast capacity and can hold information for years or even a lifetime. Long-term memory includes explicit memories like facts and events and implicit memories such as skills and habits. Understanding long-term memory helps explain how we learn and retain knowledge. Encoding is the process of transforming sensory input into a form that can be stored in memory. Effective encoding is essential for learning and remembering information. Cognitive psychologists study different encoding strategies such as rehearsal and elaboration to understand how we can improve memory retention. Retrieval is the process of accessing stored information from memory. Successful retrieval depends on how well the information was encoded and stored. Sometimes, retrieval can fail, leading to forgetting. Cognitive psychologists explore retrieval cues and strategies to help people recall information more effectively. Getting is the loss of information from memory over time. It can occur due to decay, interference, or retrieval failure. Cognitive psychologists study forgetting to understand why we lose information and how we can prevent it. Strategies like spaced repetition and active recall can help reduce forgetting and improve long-term retention. Metacognition refers to our awareness and understanding of our own thought processes. It involves monitoring and controlling how we learn, remember, and solve problems. Metacognition is important for effective learning and self-regulation. By becoming more aware of our thinking, we can develop better strategies for studying and problem solving. Cognitive load refers to the amount of mental effort being used in the working memory. When cognitive load is too high, it can hinder learning and performance. Cognitive psychologists study ways to manage cognitive load, such as breaking information into smaller chunks and using visual aids to make learning more efficient. Executive function refers to a set of cognitive processes that help us plan, focus attention, remember instructions, and juggle multiple tasks. These control processes are essential for goal-directed behavior and self-regulation. Cognitive psychologists study executive function to understand disorders like ADHD and to develop interventions that improve cognitive control. Cognitive development is the study of how thinking and reasoning change over the lifespan. From childhood through adulthood, our cognitive abilities evolve as we learn new skills and adapt to new challenges. Cognitive psychologists explore stages of development, such as those proposed by Piaget, to understand how children acquire language, memory, and problem-solving abilities. Jean Piaget proposed that children go through 4 stages of cognitive development: sensory-motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. Each stage represents a different way of thinking and understanding the world. Piaget's theory has had a profound impact on education and developmental psychology. Lev Vygotsky emphasized the role of social interaction and culture in cognitive development. According to Vygotsky, learning is a collaborative process, and children develop cognitive skills through guided participation with more knowledgeable others. His ideas highlight the importance of language, culture, and social context in shaping cognitive growth. Cognitive neuroscience is the study of the biological processes that underlie cognition. It combines psychology and neuroscience to explore how brain structures and functions support mental processes. Advances in brain imaging have allowed researchers to map cognitive functions to specific areas of the brain, deepening our understanding of the mind-body connection. Artificial intelligence, AI, draws inspiration from cognitive psychology to design systems that can learn, reason, and solve problems. By modeling human cognition, AI researchers aim to create machines that mimic human thought processes. This intersection of psychology and technology is opening new frontiers in both fields. Cognitive psychology differs from behaviorism in its focus on internal mental processes rather than just observable behavior. While behaviorists study how stimuli and responses are linked, cognitive psychologists are interested in what happens inside the mind. This shift has led to new insights into learning, memory, and problem solving. Cognitive psychologists use a variety of experimental methods to study mental processes. These include laboratory experiments, computer simulations, and neuroimaging techniques. Carefully designed experiments help researchers isolate specific cognitive functions and test theories about how the mind works. Cognitive psychology has practical applications in education, therapy, artificial intelligence, and more. By understanding how people think and learn, psychologists can develop better teaching methods, design user-friendly technology, and create effective interventions for mental health issues. In education, cognitive psychology informs teaching strategies that enhance learning and retention. Techniques such as spaced repetition, active recall, and concept mapping are rooted in cognitive principles. By applying these strategies, educators can help students learn more effectively and retain information longer. Cognitive therapy is a form of psychotherapy that focuses on changing unhelpful thinking patterns. By identifying and challenging distorted thoughts, individuals can improve their mood and behavior. Cognitive therapy is widely used to treat depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions. Cognitive biases influence our decisions and judgments in daily life. From the way we shop to how we interact with others, biases can lead us astray. By becoming aware of these biases, we can make more rational choices and avoid common pitfalls in thinking. Problem solving is a key area of cognitive psychology. Researchers study how people approach challenges, generate solutions, and evaluate outcomes. Effective problem solving involves breaking problems into smaller parts, using analogies, and applying logical reasoning. These strategies can be applied in school, work, and personal life. Decision-making is the process of choosing between alternatives. Cognitive psychologists study how people weigh options, assess risks, and make choices. Factors like heuristics, biases, and emotions all play a role in decision-making. Understanding these processes can help us make better decisions in complex situations. Creativity involves generating new ideas and solutions. Cognitive psychologists study the mental processes behind creativity, such as divergent thinking and incubation. By understanding creativity, we can foster innovation in education, business, and the arts. Emotion and cognition are closely linked. Emotions can influence how we think, remember, and make decisions. Cognitive psychologists explore how feelings like fear, happiness, and anger affect mental processes. Understanding this relationship helps us manage emotions and improve mental health. Attention disorders, such as ADHD, affect the ability to focus and control impulses. Cognitive psychologists study these disorders to develop better diagnostic tools and treatments. Understanding attention disorders can help individuals manage symptoms and improve daily functioning. Memory disorders, such as amnesia and Alzheimer's disease, disrupt the ability to store and retrieve information. Cognitive psychologists research these conditions to understand their causes and develop interventions. Early detection and cognitive training can help manage symptoms and improve quality of life. Language disorders, such as aphasia, affect the ability to communicate. Cognitive psychologists study these disorders to understand how language is processed in the brain and to develop therapies that restore communication skills. Advances in cognitive psychology have led to more effective treatments for language disorders. As we age, cognitive abilities can change. Some processes like memory and processing speed may decline, while others, like vocabulary, remain stable or even improve. Cognitive psychologists study aging to develop strategies that maintain cognitive health and independence in older adults. Cognitive rehabilitation involves therapies and exercises designed to improve cognitive function after injury or illness. Techniques may include memory training, attention exercises, and problem-solving tasks. Cognitive psychologists work with patients to help them regain lost abilities and adapt to new challenges. Cognitive assessment involves tests and tools used to measure mental abilities such as memory, attention, and reasoning. These assessments help diagnose cognitive disorders, track changes over time, and guide treatment plans. Accurate assessment is essential for effective intervention and support. Cognitive psychology continues to evolve, with new research exploring topics like consciousness, artificial intelligence, and brain-computer interfaces. As technology advances, our understanding of the mind will deepen, leading to new applications in health, education, and beyond. Let's recap the key concepts and terminology we've covered in cognitive psychology. From perception and memory to problem-solving and cognitive development, these ideas form the backbone of the field. Understanding these concepts helps us appreciate the complexity of the human mind and the science behind our thoughts and behaviors. Cognitive psychology offers valuable insights into how we think, learn, and interact with the world. By mastering its basic concepts and terminology, we gain tools to improve our own thinking and support others. As research continues, cognitive psychology will remain at the forefront of understanding the human mind and unlocking our potential.